So today we're with Brett Riggins here.
I am
here to talk about real estate. I had the opportunity of being on his podcast actually a couple of weeks ago, and it was a great conversation. And one of my most downloaded podcasts was about real estate, about commercial real estate, and how physicians can benefit from it. So we are happy to have you. You're a musician like I am, probably more professional than I am, but you're your dad and entrepreneur. You're a book writer, and I did actually download your book on Kindle, so that was actually pretty good. I haven't read it yet, but we can talk about some of the chapters I saw that I'd love for our audience to hear about. So tell us about yourself. Tell us about what you do and what brings you to the Practice Impossible podcast.
Yeah, I'm living life by design, and I thank you, JP, for having me on your show, because this is exactly, it exemplifies that. So what I get to do every day and is what I choose to do. And I love that. And being on the show is one of those things to share my experiences and share the knowledge and resources that we've put together through the years and I've been blessed with. So thank you for that. Thank you to all the listeners out there for consistently tuning into JP here and just grabbing on to something and taking action. And that's what it's all about. So Thanks, JP. Thanks to the listeners. And just a little bit about me and my background. I started off in construction. Music has always been this underlying foundation through time. And in the beginning, it was something that took me away from other priorities in my life. It was a passion. It is a passion. I still hold on to it. Eventually, it had led me to a show that I was paid to play. That's where JP calls me a professional, because I was paid to play music. I knew it was going to lead me somewhere big, and it actually led me to a party that we were hired to play where I first met my wife. So music led me to the greatest thing that's happened to me in my life. So I met my wife through music. Through that journey, I started with construction. From everything under the concrete to above the shingles. I studied construction management, engineering, architectural engineering in school. And I never wanted to be the dude that drew the pictures and said, go do it. It works. I drew it. Go do it. So I wanted to experience everything hands-on. And I've had the privilege and blessing of doing things that I never want to do again, and doing things that I enjoy doing, just to give me a little bit of idea, but most of all, help build that understanding in me that I don't know everything. I don't ever want to know everything, but I want to continue working on myself so I can ask the best questions.
So what do you do now? So what do you do?
Man, just walk around and smile all day. That's what I do, JP. No, I am. I have a few different companies. My main focus is real estate. My lane is single family residential. Now I've got experience across the board. I do not have any apartment buildings yet. I know that's in the works. I know that's something that's laid out for our path. But just real estate investing, consulting, that kind of thing. I'm passionate to keep growing myself and then share my experiences and resources with everybody, because when we teach, we learn. And I absolutely love that.
Absolutely. And so, we talked a little bit about your book, and one of the chapters I saw in the book was Avoid Getting Poor, the chapter on avoid getting poor.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet, but if you can give us some snippets, because I think there were some 7 things that we should not do or we should do as physicians.
Yeah, I think just a summary of it. Some of the best things to know is what not to do. Mm-hmm. So when we're looking at things and this going to go across the board. The book is actually, the name of the book is How to Get Rich as a Doctor, right? And I tell all of my friends and colleagues, you don't have to necessarily be a physician for these principles to take effect. So when we're looking at this, what are the things that I don't want to do in order to get the thing that I want, right? So some of the things that we're looking at, we're going to go for physicians, but across the board for everybody. And the the first thing that jumps out in my mind, JP, is kind of like a lifestyle creep when it comes to physicians, particularly. And this lifestyle creep of kind of like chasing after what everybody else has or what this persona has of being a doctor. So as you go from, a low paid or no paid kind of residency, low end kind of thing, and then all of a sudden you're a physician and you're making good pay, well, we have the tendency for things to expand to the limits that we give them. So all of a sudden I have a new car, I'm buying a house, on top of all of this stuff with the massive amounts of education debt that physicians will come through. And again, just for the listeners, so the listeners know, I am not a physician. Yeah. I've not been through that path. I've been through the education path, but I've never called it an education career or a career education. I've never had that extent. So I cannot speak directly to it. I'm only speaking from the outside looking in. But this creep happens all along while having this burdensome amount of debt for many. And it's just something we're living up to either impress somebody else or to reach these goals that we've set in our mind of what we should be as a doctor. You know what I mean?
I should know what you mean, because I was there. I was one of those guys.
Yeah.
So, I had to have a nice car. I had to have the real estate. I was flipping houses coming out of residency, and I had $150,000 of debt.
Oh yeah.
Years ago. So I hear it. And a lot of our guests have said the same thing. My accountants have said the same thing. People who work with other physicians and healthcare providers. But what do you think is the common theme in that notion that you have to have that nice house, live in a nice neighborhood, and, go to private school?
Conditioning. It's conditioning. It's that we care what other people think of us in the regard of this is what everybody thinks that a doctor should be or a doctor's car should be. And we're conditioned, whether it's in our upbringing, in the things we see on TV, in print ads or whatever, it's conditioned into us. And we know, and I hear it from so many physicians too. I love speaking to younger physicians, especially coming out, just getting introduced into their career of this fallacy that physicians are wealthy. And from the outside looking in, I'm conditioned to think that physicians are wealthy. Well, guess what? You're not. You're not. You come out and you are buried, right? You're buried in debt. You're buried in a potential burnout situation that you're building. Like, there's so much going on in your life, and we're just conditioned. We think that physicians are wealthy. So it's like, you've got to live up to this. I've got to drive that nice car. I've got to have this $1 million house, in even having this experience myself, JP, this house that I'm standing in right now, we bought from physicians. They moved into a bigger house or whatever. So in my mind, I'm like, ooh, I live in a house a physician lived in. It's this conditioning that we all live in. I know, being on the inside now, that's not exactly the track, but it's just ingrained in the human nature to live up to this picture that we've made up in our mind.
And so, where do you see it changing, or how do you see it changing in the future? Because what we want to do is provide physicians an avenue, and what do you think is the one thing that you can help physicians understand that can get them out of that mindset?
Yeah, I would push back on the idea of personal development in and of itself, and personal development is going to be self-realization. And first of all, in order for me to know where I want to go, where am I at? Where am I starting? So like this idea that, like if the listeners are hearing this in a doctor's car, yeah, I have heard that before. Oh, that house, right? If you're feeling this, then understanding that that's where we're standing at right now. So this idea of self-realization, to pick out, to say, this does not have to be me. This is not me. This is not what I want to do. Then we can start having the discussion of, okay, where do we want to go? Yeah. And with that perspective, who do I need to become in order to get to where I want to go? That's a key piece. And JP, that's, we can have all these discussions about wealth and and passion and all this stuff, the numbers go away when we're talking about who we need to become in order to reach those goals, whether it is a number or a direction or a passion. So I think that's the biggest point, is having that time in your schedule, whether it's monthly, weekly, even yearly, to say, where am I at?
Yeah.
Where do I want to be? And who do I need to become to get there? I just looked this up. There's a quote in that beginning of that chapter, avoid getting poor. If you don't make time to work on creating the life you want, you're eventually going to be forced to spend a lot of time dealing with the life you don't want. That makes sense?
So true.
Yeah.
So true. But, and there are people that are not going to help you get there either, because they're going to be people who are going to throw things at you and say, hey, we got to do this. And, you don't need to put any money down on this property, and you don't need to, we'll give you the money to buy this, or we'll help you invest this. Never working on the doctor's personal finances, or even their personal health, their well-being, their physical health, their spiritual health. I mean, it's all about work. And what I find is, once they get to purchase these investments and these things, then, sometimes the investments don't go well, and then they have to work more to pay off the investments. And that working more causes more stress on them and the families. And
100%.
It's burnout.
In so much of that burnout conversation that I've been engaged in, so my burnout's a little different. It's not as a physician, but it's related more to a high performance. And there's so many, I'm sure, the listeners out there today who will hit that high performance target. So burnout can happen to many of us. And one of the crucial things is really, JP, is understanding the ability to say no. And I've heard it so many times. No should be a complete sentence. I shouldn't have to explain to myself to you when I say no, but so many of those things align with not only in the practice, but in investments, in life in general too. Because, if you're a go-getter, if you're hungry, you're getting after it, you're taking everything you can to learn the experience and grow. And then that's where you're creating this machine that's going to eat you. And that absolutely aligns with investments too. And thing that pops into my mind is just encouraging everybody to just keep that perspective of not buying yourself a job. When you're investing in real estate, especially when you say, oh, I can do that, that equals you creating work for yourself. Oh, I can take care of that. Oh, I can do that. Right? When it comes down to property management, making any kind of repairs, chasing after rents, going through the acquisition process.
You own accounting.
Yeah, accounting, absolutely. I can do that. I can handle that. There's no reason why I can't do that. Right, you can. But do you want to? Right? Where's the value exchange for that? Let's put this together. So everything, even in the investing world, everything we touch, you should be looking at it as a business owner, not as an employee of what you're doing, because we are all shooting for this direction to stop trading time for money. And it's just a big piece to keep that in perspective, being able to say no and aligning things with that, back to that beginning, understanding where you're at and where you're going. And who do I need to become to get to where I'm going? Does that include me changing out light bulbs or fixing toilets or doing your own accounting, right? Does that need to be me there?
Yeah. So where, how do you start with a physician? So a physician comes to you and they know that you're a guru in real estate. And do you flip houses? Do you buy and hold? Do you rent? Or what is the main objective that you would want a physician to understand from you?
Yeah, I want them to understand where they're at first.
Okay.
And it's having like a conversation like this. And it's great. I love podcasts because it's people just open up on podcasts, and I appreciate it so much. I've learned so much through it. But that's the kind of deep conversation that I want to have with somebody. I need to connect with you because I'm not here. Obviously, the companies make money. It's for profit. The biggest connection is sharing the resources with everybody. Not everybody's going to be able to work with us. We've got a company called Physician Wealth Systems. It's the higher end, 100% done for you portfolio building. This is different. It's not turnkey investments. This is a turnkey portfolio where we're creating that real estate business for you. But that everybody's got their own journey. That's not going to align for everybody. So we need to have these deep conversations first for me to understand where you at, where do you want to go? And in that journey, can we bring you that value? Somewhere along the line, JP, no matter what you tell me, I want to have something for you. I want to have, like, on the front end, if you say, I just, I'm interested in real estate, getting to know a little more about maybe single families. Well, that platform, the byproduct of Physician Wealth Systems, is this knowledge resource. And that's real estate residency. That's something we've put together. And I'm passionate about just giving all of this stuff away and say, hey, this is exactly how we do this. This is what we're doing. Because then you can start seeing the opportunities that are right in front of you. We'll get this question a lot of, where should I start? Well, if the single family solution aligns with your values and your time, and you have this perspective to look at it as a business, not another job, start right in your hometown. Mm-hmm. You know the neighborhoods, you know the markets, you have an idea of who owns a house over here, so you've got the opportunity to start there. And if you're talking about one houses, two houses, four, the market's not gonna drive your returns like if you're building portfolios. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So where are you located? We had conversations and I forgot. I don't think I ever asked you.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be in the Carolinas. I born and raised in Michigan, and I tell everybody I've scraped my last windshield. I shoveled my last driveway. I'm good. Palm trees and sunshine for me.
Yeah. So would you recommend real estate in another state? Investing in real estate in another state?
Yeah, so we went virtual just before COVID. My acquisition company, Connect Home Buyers, we're nationwide. So we were acquiring, wholesaling, flipping, we call it wholetailing, full-on flips all over the United States. We had our pockets of our big markets. It comes down to the risk tolerance of each person. And again, that first section of self-realization is the values and the time that you have to invest in this. If you're able to build relationships, have the time to build those relationships, then boots on the ground is something that you get through relationship building, right? It's not the actual virtual, my feet on the ground. I've done so many houses, so many houses through the years where I've never even seen them. I've never been to them. So it is possible, but it comes down to the person. I would highly encourage the ability to invest in other markets if you're doing this as a business, because we want scalable solutions that align with your values and your time. And in order to hit the most effective, I say, bang for your buck, it's probably not going to be in your backyard.
I see. So you're looking at, so you're in North Carolina. Someone calls you and says they want to, understand what you do and teach and get taught, about real estate investment. Would you then connect them with the houses? Would you be like a broker of those houses, or you point them in the right direction?
Great question. So I'm at like two ends of the spectrum. Okay. My experience and my resources in real estate has led me. I am licensed in South Carolina. I'm licensed in Tennessee. My wife is licensed in Michigan. So on the front end of this thing, when you say teach, it's giving away these resources. So it's a less one-on-one. I've got weekly call reviews or weekly deal reviews that we do. My acquisition manager, I'll meet, and every week we go live and record the actual views, the deals that we're reviewing. And that's more of a general education type approach. On the other end of that spectrum is Physician Wealth Systems, where I'm not necessarily teaching you how to go out and find these things. I'm building your real estate investment business. So we're creating the systems, the processes, the procedures, and the relationships to allow you to have this business that functions without you. And in that regard, my acquisition company may go out, find these deals. We'll actually put them in contract. We'll assign them to the physician's entity that we've helped them set up. I'm not an attorney. I can't give them any legal advice. We help them get this set up. We assign that to them. We then renovate it with our team. We get it refinance. So it connects you with our lenders, and then the physician gets it refinanced. And then our property management team, professional property management team in the area, will get the tenants marketed and filtered out and get it stabilized. So we completely stabilize a cash flowing asset for the physician with 100% ownership. They get all the values of owning it. And I would say 95% of the stress-free piece of it. So there's no such thing as passive, 100% passive income.
Yeah.
And it's just creating this business that allows you to step away from as much as the active as possible.
So I got approached by a REIT. It's almost like a REIT, but it's a private REIT. They're selling a house right next door to us. They bought the house for, I think, $1 million, and it was a fixer-up, but they put like $500,000 in the fix-up. And I'm not saying any names, but I just looked at the process and I said, what are they doing? This is bad. And it's been on the market for about 3-4 months.
Yep.
How are you different than a company like that or a REIT like that?
Biggest things that jump into my mind are the product and the purpose.
Okay.
The product of what we're doing is a long-term hold. So it's going to be held by, and the equity 100% by the physician for a long-term basis. It's not a kill and eat scenario. If I'm flipping properties, I call that kill and eat because I've got to get it, and then I consume it, then I got to go get it again. What we're setting up is long-term, whether we're doing short-term, we do short-term Airbnbs as well as long-term rentals. This is generational wealth that we're setting up. And with 100% ownership, not only do you get that cash flow and the equity that called the stackable returns of single-family residential, the principal pay down as the tenant pays the rent, it's going to pay down the principal, which directly goes to your financial statement as equity in your net worth. You're going to get cash flow, obviously the arbitrage, the difference of the expenses. You're going to get depreciation. So probably not likely we're going to get depreciation in REITs, and then we can just implement currently accelerated depreciation via cost segregation. And then there's always appreciation. And remember, I'll put projections in for the first year of stabilization. And these projections are going to dramatically increase. And if for the listeners not seeing me draw I think it's a parabolic curve, right? This thing is just going to go up massively as it goes on. And just think it generational as this is happening, or even in your generation, JP, the equity in this, the cash flow is increasing, the property value, rents are going up. So this is more than just a boom, kill and eat kind of thing. That's the product. And the purpose of this is it goes beyond that into why are you doing this, right? The long-term solution is a little different, and that's gonna hit a little different for every listener out there of the why behind it. For me, I'm passionate about this, and I just love the first time I learned about leveraging capital to have it serviced basically by a renter secured by a tangible asset. It just shook my world. So I was passionate about building this. And then as a high performance thing, I was like, okay, do more. But now I can do it better and better. So I'm providing the best possible house for a family at the top market rent. So for me, that's a big piece of the value that aligns with me, but it may be different for everybody else. And then to set it up to say, all right, what's this going to look like in 10 years, 15 years? So there's just more to it, So product and purpose are the biggest things that jump out to me.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. And you mentioned Airbnb, so I have to kind of throw that out there and say, what do you mean by you have some Airbnbs? Are some of those properties rented in an Airbnb situation, and do you manage those listings?
I don't right now. I manage everything, but I manage the managers of everything, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
When we started off, with this guitar hanging on my wall, I was sleeping on couches. I didn't have any money, all this stuff. I didn't have any of that. So I learned blood, sweat, and tears. I learned by sweat equity. I learned by going to court in small claims. There's so many things that I learned through the years of doing this. Now, physician wealth systems, what I like to do is maybe we do 12 properties in 12 months. And what I like to do is throw an Airbnb in there to kind of diversify a little bit. And it's a little bit of a different product too, because then we get to have a more in-depth renovation. We have more in-depth action, because that's more hospitality than it is having a place to rent. So I love to diversify with that a little bit. And Memphis is one of the markets we're in. And we just recently have worked with a St. Jude guest. And that to me shook my core. So that's really cool. And getting to care for that family coming through there is so cool. And in our own portfolios, we have a few different mixed use commercial buildings. So they'll have retail on the main level and then apartments above. I love those assets. And we'll do Airbnbs in those apartments. And just on average, we can easily double our income, our actual net income on Airbnb. So short-term versus long-term. And even in the municipalities where they call midterm, where it's 30-day minimum stays, we still double our net income on that type of stay, also allowing us to control the types of tenants that we have coming in. So say for a 1-bedroom apartment in Southwest Michigan, I was maybe getting $650, to where now in Airbnb, I'm doing probably closer to $2,000 and for a 30-day rental. But I'm paying maybe $150, even $200 a month in expenses. On top of that, it's still yielding a way better return.
Oh, that's fascinating, because we're looking at an Airbnb right now for ourselves, and it just popped in my mind when you mentioned St. Jude's. We're right by a hospital. Could we serve not only the staff, the nurses, traveling nurses, but could we also serve patients?
Yeah.
And that's a really, really good idea.
Yep. Yeah, and there's we get a lot of like the traveling nurse medicine type of clientele in these for the 30-day minimum stays. So
this is such a wealth of information. And so what do you do aside from playing music? What other things do you do? No, you mentioned you're married. Any kids?
Yep. I've got 2 children. My daughter's going to turn 9 in the end of August here in a few weeks, and her and I are on a business trip out to actually the Memphis market this week. So she's going out there with me. We're going to meet with our team. Now we've got a couple clients flying in as well too. So we're excited about that. My son is 10. Okay. And yeah, it's just a joy. Like right now you can see this studio is in my home office, which is my home. And I just get to do what I love every single day. And one of those things, I get that question a lot. I was like, what is wealth? What is wealth to you? What is freedom to you? And I say every single day, I get up and I do what I love. And one of the things that I love is real estate and doing this. So I spend a lot of time doing this, but it's intentional time. Mm-hmm. So my day may consist of 8 hours of work, but it may start at 5 a.m. till 9 a.m, and then maybe break for a couple hours, go out or, go to the gym. I just get to do what I want to do when I want to do it. So therefore I am wealthy, right? One other thing that I love doing is the gym. I absolutely love the gym. I did something called 75 Hard a couple years ago. Changed my life. If there are any listeners out there who have heard of this, you should have done it already. But if you haven't, I'm going to say, yeah, man, 75 Hard, take a look at it. And the biggest piece of this, when I explain this to you, or you might groan and moan a little bit, but if it triggers something in you, the biggest thing is taking action. That action will trigger compounding effects the rest of your life, I promise you. So 75 Hard is put together, I think, Andy Frisella. Now, he's got a potty mouth, so I would caution you on that, but he's a high performance guy. He's personal development. I'm not sure if Ed Milet had something to do with this or not either. So here we go, 75 Hard. It's 75 days of a challenge. And this challenge has a few things that you've got to do each day. Now, if you miss one of these things, you've got to go back to 70. You got to go back to the first day to hit your 75 again. So here are some things that I did that changed my life consistently. I still do them, which led me into loving to work out and be healthy and eat differently. So the first thing is you got to be on a diet. It can be any diet, but it has to be a consistent diet. You can't have any cheat meals. There's no alcohol. You can't have any alcohol at all. You have to drink 1 gallon of water a day, which seems challenging at first, especially for smaller people. That's really challenging. You have to read 10 pages of a non-fictional book every single day, 10 pages. You have to take a picture of yourself every single day. And the final thing is you have to exercise twice a day for 45 minutes at a time. And yes, one of them has to be outside. Huh. So when you hear all of this, it's like, wow, this is a crazy challenge. But what happened to me, JP, in this process, and this was, it was exactly 2 years ago, I believe. Man, I became a better father. I became a better husband. I became a better leader. I became a better person, which enabled me to do all of those things. So the consistency that I built focusing on myself, and we talked about that self-realization step. I was journaling every single day, and just, man, the steps and improvements that I made as a person are mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. So I started, being the high performance person, I started pairing some things together. So if I've got to exercise 2 times a day, which gets fun when you travel too, because I was doing 45-minute exercises inside the airport, all kinds of stuff. But we would do family walks. So 45 minutes, I had a scheduled time every single day with my family that I never had before. We ended up getting bicycles for the kids, getting passes to parks, all kinds of things because of this challenge. So what else is going to happen in that 45 minutes of time with your family every single day? You're going to communicate. You're going to get back to things in connection in ways that you hadn't before. And pair that off of the compounding effect of 10 pages of nonfiction. Choose some books that make you a better person, that make you a better father, that help you get more self-realization. So 75 Hard is something that will change your life, and it has changed my life. And I will be a evangelist, I think is, if that's the word for it. I don't get paid for it. I have nothing to do for it, I promise you. But the being able to pay it forward is massive, and the change that makes in your life. So if you're listening to this, the biggest thing is to search it. You can Google search 75 Hard and do it. Start tomorrow. I had no idea what keto was, JP, and we went on it. And, at that time, I'm like, okay, we picked 21 carbs for the whole day. So we ended up losing a lot of weight, which in change, we were hangry a lot. So my wife and I were doing it at the same time, which I highly encourage. If you've got family, they've got to be part of this. You've got to have a support team. But I lost 40 pounds that first time. Wow. And I didn't even there was a point where it's like, okay, I wasn't super overweight, but I was maybe a little heavier than what I should have been. I was happy. Let's say that. I was happy until I had to do something. But now I absolutely love, for me to get to the gym, I absolutely love it. And I actually see a lot of physicians there as well too, in the gym. But man, it's just something I can get away. I free my mind. I sit in the sauna. I love it.
I don't think we can say any more after that, because that was so much. Because that's transformative. What you just described is a transformative experience. Yet, if we all did something similar to that, I might have less patience as well.
Yeah.
My patience will be healthy.
Yes. You'd have less patience, but more patience. There's the wordplay for you. You have everything in there. You seem like a very patient person, man, for sure. For sure.
Well, I was so happy for this discussion, and this is more than I expected, especially with the 75 Hard.
Yeah.
Where do we find you? How do we get more of you?
Great question. I think physicianwealthsystems.com is the best spot. That's kind of like the central hub, and you can find everything on there. There's a free 30-day pass into this real estate residency. Hint to the listeners, it's always free, but I try to give you some motivation to get out there and get it. So there's access to me 100%. I'm doing one-on-ones you can do with me. And again, just so I can connect with you, have a conversation with you, because everybody's journey is going to be a little bit different. So where can we bring you value? Physician Wealth Systems is that hub for everything. You can find the podcast there, Real Estate Mogul MD. JP was on there the last week or the week before. Absolutely love that show. Man, yeah, and all the Instagram, if there are any Instagrammers out there, NN Brett, it's just NNBRETT. But everything is connected. Our team has the total cohesive package around everything that can be found at physicianwealthsystems.com.
Awesome.
Tell them JP sent you.
And I will, I'm not an affiliate, so I have to put that disclaimer out. I just want to provide information for our physicians so that they can practice and pop.
Absolutely.
And all these links will be in our show notes. And if you haven't yet done so, leave a review for us. We want to hear more from our audience and what you want to hear about, what you want us to talk about. So we appreciate our audience listening and watching now, because now we're a video. We're a video podcast now.
Oh, nice.
So it is.
So I should have worn my suit. No, this is my suit. This is my suit. I wear T-shirts every single day.
You know, I don't know why I don't have T-shirts, but I think I'm going to get some T-shirts, and so I have to think about what I'm going to wear for these video podcasts.
Yes, I have like 30 of the same T-shirts. Just boom, done.
Thank you again, Brad, and
awesome.
It's been awesome. Thank you.
Man, thank you, JP. I really appreciate it. One more last bounce to the listeners out there. If you go to Spotify or Apple, those are, I'm sure, the biggest two spaces, make sure to leave a star rating on there, a note on the Apple podcast section. It just really helps everybody out. And I know JP's got it going on, so jump on there, leave him a review, drop a 5-star review in there. And yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks, JP. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.